Right. So in the last two sessions, we completed two sessions. Okay. The three sessions, including last two and today's session, you can expect that videos after completing today's session within 1 hour time. So I was bit not available. So that is the reason I could not upload those sessions in the YouTube, and we could not share you the links. Okay. So today you will get last two sessions video links along with the today's session. Yeah, that I'll ensure it will happen within 1 hour after completing today's session. I'll take care of that. So from last two sessions, whatever we discussed, any questions from anyone, please? I think we discussed up to what does it mean by Fusion applications as well as cloud. Any questions, please?
Lakshman, this is Guru.
Yeah.
Regarding infrastructure as a service, are we going to see any kind of example going forward in further sessions, or no? I'm not sure. Like I didn't understand much on that side, so just had a question about it.
Oh, I see. Oracle Integration Cloud. Okay, this is a platform, middleware based platform. So which will help technical people to connect one system with another system. That could be one cloud with another cloud, or it could be on-premise to cloud, or anything else. If you want to connect two systems, you can use OIC, Oracle Integration Cloud. So I'll just light on that. I'll take one session on this. This is not related to us. If you are going to claim like you have 4, 5, 6 years of experience, what is the minimum knowledge you should have when you are working with the technical people? You get some basic insight about this OIC. That knowledge I'll share with you.
Okay, and is that a part of infrastructure as a service? I have
infrastructure as a service, that is different. Okay, this is OIC, Oracle. Okay, Integration Cloud, that is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. That's the different. When I talk about this, what is the difference between these two? Also, I'll explain. No worries. Yep.
Okay.
But we no need to do anything with OIC or OCI. Okay.
Okay. So
we don't touch, but it's good to have some basic understanding about that. That I will provide.
Okay, so we are going to focus on the SaaS and PaaS only, infrastructure as a service.
It is not like SaaS and PaaS. We are going to focus on financials application. Let them sit in a SaaS or PaaS. For us, everything is same. IaaS, we are not going to do anything. In IaaS, there won't be any application. It's a storage space. You can keep anything in that by buying that space. SaaS and PaaS, those are the environments which Oracle provides based on the client subscription. Say, as a company, you may opt for SaaS. As a company, I may opt for PaaS. What you cannot do is, you cannot do critical customizations, new page creation, new application creation, you cannot do. I'll be in the position to do it. When I'm going to do some new page developments and new application creation, that goes to my technical team. Functional front, everything is same. In case of PaaS, your technical team can develop some additional components, whereas in SaaS, it's limited. For finance consultant, there is no game changer because SaaS and PaaS, both are same product would be there. On top of, if we want to develop something, that goes to technical bucket. If no customization, we can keep going with the standard product. Clear? Any open questions? Let me know. We can talk on that. For us, it doesn't make any difference. That is the point I'm trying to say. When we are going to work as a functional consultant, see SaaS and PaaS as the same. Technical point of view, PaaS will allow the technical consultants to do customization. They can create some additional components which are not possible from SaaS. It could be SaaS or PaaS. What we do is we work on the standard product.
Hi, Lakshman, this is Devi. So today is my first class. So did I miss anything before?
Nothing,
this is
just
before-
we had a two kind of sessions. We didn't discuss much. We will share the videos. You can just go through and you can catch up. If anything is
Okay.
there, we'll discuss in the next session, or else you ask my team to connect one-on-one call if required.
Sure.
Yeah.
Another question. So you're covering mostly functional part or technical or
Pure
both?
functional. I'll just here and there, I'll just light on the technical aspects. Just now we discussed, right? OIC. What is Oracle
Okay.
Integration Cloud? It's a very simple. When you are working as a functional consultant, what level of technical knowledge you should aware, that I am going to cover.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Fine, great. Any other questions?
Hello.
Yep.
Yeah, Fizzer here.
Yep.
When we will go for customization and we will order the Fusion applications as a PaaS, so we will have two environments, one as a SaaS and the other one for customization.
Yeah, we are going to discuss the same point in the today's session. I'm going to talk about the environments today.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll come to know about this. Yeah. Any other questions? Great. So no questions. Done. Okay. Let's move on. So it could be SaaS or PaaS. It could be SaaS or PaaS. Forget about IaaS. IaaS is just storage space. Nothing to do with that. No applications you can have in that until unless you take the license, you install, and that's a different game. So typically we'll work for the clients 95% SaaS, maybe 5-6% PaaS. Okay, 5-6% PaaS. So even if it could be SaaS or PaaS, don't worry about it is PaaS or SaaS. The way how you work, the style would be same. There won't be any changes in that. So when we start working for any client, say you are working for SaaS customer or PaaS customer, so how that instance landscape you can have. So what are the product we use to access these Fusion applications? So the environment, what we get from Oracle, that we call as instance, What is the meaning of instance? The English term meaning. What do you mean by instance? What is the meaning of instance?
Environment.
Okay.
Instance, that means example, live example or something.
No, I'm asking the instance English term meaning. Copy, replica, right? No, okay, that instance is different. Yeah, you mentioned example. Yeah, correct. Okay, that is also refer something. Okay, replicate something. The meaning of example. Yes. Here, instance means what the synonym word we have to take is copy, replica. That means what are the product Oracle develop? That copy they make and they will give to us, we can use as a customer or client. So the software product, whatever they are replicating, they're making the copy that they will share with us with the concept called as instance. That only we call as environment. In that, what are the different instances we can have when we do the implementation? Here is the landscape of the instance. So typically these are the instances we come across. Just I'm selecting, you focus on that only, rest ignore, we'll discuss. These are the three instances we use in every implementation. If not three, only two. When two, when three, we will discuss. So by default, Oracle provides only two instances. Two instances Oracle provides. One is for the purpose of testing. This is the one for the purpose of testing. The other instance for the purpose of production. Okay. So this I'm naming as one. This I'm naming as a two. This 1 and 2 instances only we get by default from Oracle. You are implementing Fusion Financials for your company. If you take the subscription from Oracle for certain period with respect to user headcount and the number of applications as you require, you get 2 instances from Oracle. The 2 instances, what purpose we can use? One you can use for a testing purpose that we call as a test instance. And the second one we call as production instance, production purpose we can use. if you take the typical implementation time as 6 months or 1 year, take example 1 year. So when we work for this Fusion implementations, the time totally different depending on for whom you are implementing. You may complete your implementation within 6 months. If client is operating the business in only one country and client is not very large size client, medium size client, and they don't have operations too much and they don't have very complex business process, in that scenarios, you can complete the implementation maybe within 6 months or 8 months. Or you may complete the implementation within 1 year, even if your client is running the business in multiple countries. Or you may complete the implementation within 2, 3, 4, 5 months or years if they have a global presence in many countries. Okay, so this implementation time, it's a minimum you can take as 6 months, max you can take years, 2, 3, 4. So there are a few clients who went for this implementation. They adapted Fusion applications for implementation of their enterprise applications. So for them, it may take 10 years time to complete 100 countries implementation. Mostly they may go phase by phase. First phase, they may choose 10 countries, second phase remaining again 10 countries, 15, 20. So they'll make a roadmap. Accordingly, they go with implementation. Some clients, they may go with one go. Okay, they want to live 100 countries Fusion implementation at a time. Accordingly, just there will be plans and the project time periods, time duration can be set. But if you take a very common kind of implementations, what you see that the time would be 6 months or 8 months or 10 months or 1 year. On an average, you can take as 1 year, but many implementations happen with the 6 months, 7, 8 months also. It totally depends. We cannot say how much time it takes to implement Fusion applications. You have to look at who is the client, what is their business process. It's a very complex process or pretty easy, straightforward process. And are they operating in one country or multiple countries? Again, when we are implementing, are they going to implement only finance or finance and SCM? Along with the finance and SCM, HCM, PPM, what are the different applications we are going to implement for them? This all will decide the time frame for those implementations. Okay. So you don't need to just stick to the time frame as 6 months or 1 year for every implementation. That totally vary different based on the different parameters, multiple countries or applications, industries, size of the client, and the approach of implementation. At a time we are going to do for all the countries, or first we have to implement for 1 or 2 countries. Once the system will go live, they will start using, and then we have to jump on some other country implementation, how it is. Those all will decide the duration of the implementation. Okay, that is the one thing we have to understand. So when we get access to the instances from Oracle, by default we get 2 instances. One we use for a testing purpose, other one we use for production purpose. If implementation duration is 1 year, around 7 to 8 months we use only test instance. Okay, test instance, or you can call as a test environment, or you can call as a pod, POD pod. You know iPod. It's a very lightweight. Since these are the cloud environments, cloud instances, lightweight, we are calling as a pod. Okay, so all are same: instance, environment, pod. These 3 are same. You can call with any, you refer with any term. Refers same. If project duration is 1 year, typically we use test instance. We will keep working on the only test instance up to 7 to 8 months. The rest of 2 to 3 months only will move on to production. Once everything is finalized, with the help of test instance, we'll start working on the production instance. What we do in the test instance? We take the client requirement, what business they are doing, what they are doing as a part of payables department, receivables department, what are the different transactions they are recording, what reports they are generating. We'll understand their current business. Accordingly, we do the implementation, we test it, we present to the client how they can record the invoices, how they can make the payment, how they can create the suppliers, how they can maintain the bank accounts, how they can run the reports. This all we present to the client, and we take their approval, acceptance for the same, and we just will guide them how to use that system. There are many things which we have to exercise. This would be so early if I discuss about all those without knowing anything about the applications. Okay, those all I covered very, very detailed level as a part of real-time classes. Okay, for now you just take these points. Out of 1 year period, around 7 to 8 months, we have to keep working on the test instance. Everything we finalize in the test instance. Once client says okay, we'll move to production. The same setups what we do in this test instance, we do in the production. We can copy the setups, test to production. For that separate concept activity we have to perform. We'll see in our classes. So once production is ready, then client will start using the instance. They can start entering their day-to-day business transaction in the production instance. Production is the real instance which client will use to record their day-to-day business transaction. We should not enter any sample data. Some clients they don't allow us to touch the production instance, or else they may give the access to production of only read-only. They don't allow us to record any transaction, even we are consultants, once implementation is done. During the implementation, we need full access. Once implementation is done, only client team, their business users will start using the system. They don't allow us to enter any transaction. We should not allow, because that is a real instance. They are going to enter real business data day-to-day base. So this is how you can find. So already we discussed, if any customization needs to be done, it could be some report customization or interface development. Those all we can do in the test instance also. Those all we can do in the test instance. If you are using the PaaS instance, platform as a service, you may get one more instance from Oracle, but you have to pay accordingly. You may think, why to do all the customization in the test instance? It may disturb the instance because you are creating some new things as per business requirement and you are testing. You can get one more instance called as development instance. In short, you can call as dev instance. So apart from test and production, you can get development instance. Development instance can be used by technical team. Test instance can be used by functional team, means we just comes under functional. So we use the test instance, we set up the system, we will test in all the ways as per the business, how they are doing. We present to them and we'll take the approvals or called as a sign off, and we'll keep going. And development instance can be used by technical team to build some customizations. Sometimes client may not go with development instance. Okay. There may not be many customizations. In that case, the plan could be, we use test instance for development purpose also. That means the technical team will use the test instance for development. The functional team also will use the same instance for their testing purpose. So one instance can be used by technical team and functional team. If many customizations, we may go with one more instance. For that, client has to pay and they have to get from Oracle. So this is how you just come across when you are working for any implementation. In some implementations, when Oracle would provide two instances, what they do is, within the instance, you might find the name as a development instance, but you don't need to worry about if they mention instance name as a development instance. Still you can use for the purpose of testing purpose. Okay. So purpose we have to decide. Doesn't matter what name they are including. They may give the name as a test instance. They may give the name as a development instance, but you have to take the decision which instance for what purpose. Even they are giving that instance name as a test, you can use for development. Even if they are giving the instance name as development, you can use for testing, and development are only for testing. How you are going to have a plan of using those systems and purpose, accordingly you can take the decision. So these are the few points we have to understand when you talk about landscape of the instances. If you are working for any client, you get two instances, one for testing, test instance, second one for production. Test is the kind of dummy which we can play around, and production is the real one which client will use once implementation is done. So in between these two, you may have one more instance, that is a development instance. If client identifies, yes, there are many customizations. Okay, many customizations are there. So it's always good practice. We can have a separate instance so that the functionality related, whatever we are doing in the test instance, nothing will get disturbed. With that idea, they may get one more instance so that we can use that development instance only for customization purpose. Once you do the testing in the test instance, after completing all the development in the development instance, everything will move to production instance only. The target is production instance. So these are the phenomena which you come across when you are working for a client. So apart from these three instances, you may have one more instance called as vision instance. This you cannot find with a client. This instance, Oracle can provide to their channel partners. Their channel partners means, see, Oracle is selling this product, Oracle Fusion applications in the market, but alone they cannot do great business. For that reason, they have a channel partnership. Say, take example Wipro. Wipro has channel partnership with Oracle to sell Oracle products or Oracle services. In the same way, Infosys, take any big company, they all are Oracle channel partners. What they do is, that means they are they have a partnership with Oracle to sell the Oracle product. They sell the product, that's how they get the projects, they can make the money, and ultimately Oracle is selling the product to client, and in between the Wipro, Infosys, Genpact and many other companies, they are doing their business. They go to the client, they says we do the Oracle Fusion implementation. So these are the benefits you can get, this is the cost, everything they'll explain. If client says okay, so they will ask the client to buy the software, or they'll ask the client to subscribe this Fusion application from Oracle. That's how Oracle will do the business. By implementing that product to the client, the other companies, the channel partners, it could be Wipro or Infosys, Genpact, or any other company can make the money by doing this engagement. This is how it works. So for those companies, Oracle provides vision instance. To their partners, they'll provide vision instance that they can use for internal training purpose and other purposes. Okay, client is not going to get any vision instance. They'll get access to test and do production. If they want, they can get one more or two more. For that, they have to pay accordingly. This is the landscape of the instances. What is the difference between the instances what client will get? What is the instance Oracle will provide to their channel partners? The difference is within these instances, there won't be any sample data. They provide the access to fresh instances. Okay, these instances would be very fresh without any data. But in case of vision instance, there will be sample data. If you go to vision instance, you can find the invoices, you can find the payments, you can find the bank accounts, you can find the suppliers, customers, assets, whatnot. Everything you can have that you may use for learning purpose. Even data is available, you can treat it as a fresh and you can use it. You can create everything from the scratch. Okay, when you are learning, that's how you can learn how reality it works. So this is what we have to understand. The difference between vision instance and other instances are, within the vision instance, you can have a sample data, and in other instances which are going to be used by client, there won't be any sample data. We have to start creating client related data within that by doing the setups or by doing the different activities. Those all will come to know. Why Oracle named it as a vision instance? Why Oracle named it as a vision instance? The reason is the sample data what they are providing, they are taking the company name as vision. Okay, company name they are taking as a vision. So when they are creating the sample data, the name they are using company as vision. Since sample data belongs to a company called as vision, that is there in that instance, with the same name they are calling as instance. If they have a company name as a XYZ for sample data, they can call it as XYZ instance. That's it. So sample data always refers the company called as vision. That is the reason that we are calling as vision instance. Vision instance always you find with the sample data. That's it. So this is what you have to understand about instances. Any questions here, please?
I have one question, Lakshman. So currently on Oracle EBS, let's say if we some issues on the prod instance, and if you want to replicate the same
Same
scenario.
approach. There is no difference. There is no difference. What you do in EBS, the same. Only the game is what makes it's a different is in EBS, everything will be in your control by your DBA, right?
Yep.
In case of cloud, these all instances are managed by Oracle Cloud DBA team.
So in cloud, both these instances are completely replica of each other at every time.
No. You have to plan for it. Say done with implementation. Your client is using production instance for their day-to-day business operations. So you can ask to clone this production to test, so that if any issues, you can refer the data and you can fix it. Always it is not cloned. Whenever you require, you can ask them to clone it.
Okay.
Copy. Yeah. What your DBAs are doing in case of on-premise or EBS, the same can be done by Oracle Cloud DBA team. That is possible.
Okay, and sometimes this DBAs tell us that the activity is going to take a little longer and to replicate or clone the instance. On the cloud side, is it very quick process as everything is on Oracle's hand?
Yes, exactly. See here, your DBA may be on the leave. Okay, the DBA is on the leave. It doesn't have access system. You called him and you asked to clone it. They can say a simple reason, there is some technical issue, I'll do it by tomorrow, because the person is on the leave. He's not going to say he's on the leave. He's just route in the different way. But here you never come across with that kind of great reasons, because there is a dedicated team sitting from the Oracle side. You ask them, they do immediately. They'll take minimum time.
Okay.
That's how it works. It's very quick, as you mentioned. Any other questions? Great, no questions. Now, the other point is, by default, whatever the instance you get from Oracle, there will be user called as FA admin. In past, they are allowing us to access to FA admin, and they got good experience. What people started doing is they are changing the password to FA admin, which is the master user. That is the reason mostly Oracle stopped giving access to FA admin user. They create one user for you and they'll give it to you. You in the sense, if you are a client, they will just give you the instance URLs, one URL for test instance, other URL for production instance. For two instances, they'll create one user and they'll provide that username, password. Accordingly, you can connect. When we are working as a consultant in the project, we get those credentials, instance credentials from our client directly, or else you may get from your project manager. Okay, your project manager may get from your client. First, client will get from Oracle, from the client side, who is involved in that procurement process, procuring these services, the instance and the subscriptions. That team, they will receive this instance credentials. They'll pass to your project manager, or else directly they can pass to all the team members. That's how you will come to know about the instance details, the URL and username, password. And once you get access to the instance, already discussed, we have to create our own user. We have to create our own user, and that's how we have to kickstart. I think we have to create, we not yet discussed, we will discuss. Okay, the point is, we have to create our own user and we can start working on instance. This is what we have to understand, the respective to instance access. Okay, we get instance credentials from project manager or client team. Then you can connect to the instance with the given credentials, and you have to create your own user. Then you can start working on the instance. This is what we have to do. Any questions on this point, please?
Yeah, Lakshman, suppose if environment is down, okay, so Oracle will assist, okay, to bring up the environment, or only XYZ company people has to just.
Okay. only Oracle is responsible for this instance maintenance. No third party will come into the picture. Okay, you might be from Infosys, you might be from Accenture. You are just implementation partner to your client.
Okay.
Okay, the real relation between Oracle and your client. Your client is buying this product, they are taking the license or subscription from Oracle. You are there to help them, help to your client to implement it. So
Okay.
anything goes down, if instance will go down, behalf of your client, you will keep in touch with Oracle Corporation. Okay, because you are consultant, you can interface better than your client with Oracle, right? About this product. So you will be the point of contact with Oracle. So, and another point is 99.9999% it will be up and running. Okay, if they are doing the patch applications and all, they will inform us. And again, mostly they do in non-working hours. They will ask us, what is the preferable time? When users are not on the instance, you can make a plan. So max, you never have experience of instance is down when you need it. Yep.
Okay.
Oracle will take care. Oracle will take care. Anything without informing, they don't do.
Okay. So even in worst case, if something happens, so we can get support from Oracle 24 hours.
Always, yes.
Okay.
Oracle only is a point of contact.
Yeah.
Fine.
So in
Yeah.
EBS, when there is some issue and we go to Oracle, sometimes they say, okay, it is a problem with the customization and we have to come up with our own solution. They cannot help us to troubleshoot. Does it happen on the cloud side also?
Same
there is
here
issue.
also. There is no difference.
Okay.
Here only the difference is the product is, the instance are managed by Oracle. Okay, if you are facing the issue related to standard product, Oracle will help us. You did some customizations. What are the customizations you did? Oracle is not interested. Right? So your team should take care of it. What you developed, what you did, Oracle is not going to look into that. That is not their job. If something is wrong with the product, what they offered, they will take care, they'll fix it, they'll help us. Some customization you did, your team, your technical team created developed one report, custom report. It is not fetching the outcome. We cannot go and ask Oracle saying that my report is not working. They will ask you, tell me report name, so and so. They clearly mention this is not a standard report which you are giving. You guys develop the report, you have to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how it works.
One question, this is Devi. With
Yeah.
respect to the logs, like if some on the data, sometimes we see that some data lock or something, so we used to kill the sessions from the back end. So those kind of things will be done by the Oracle, or we have, as a technical consultant, we have to do it, or we have to take care ourselves with,
No,
with internal
Oracle
team.
team will do that. Oracle team will do that. You can keep in
Okay.
touch any kind of things which we do in case of EBS. Certain things are we cannot have a control. In EBS, everything will be in our control. Our DBS can do it. Certain things we can just get into that and we can do it. But in case of Fusion, just we have to depend on Oracle.
Okay. Yeah, even if concurrent programs, some seeded concurrent programs will take long time to run actually.
Correct.
Because of
The
some
performance
data.
and all, you can raise SR and they will just they may assign few additional workers for that.
Okay.
That
Thanks.
they'll take care. Yeah. Any other questions related to instance landscape understanding, please? Great, no questions. Now, so we will see how to create the user, and when you create the user, what are the basic roles we have to assign. In the Fusion, anything you want to access, for that we need the relevant role. If you want to work for payables, you need access to payables roles. You want to work for receivables, you need receivables roles. You want to work as a consultant, you need relevant roles. So we need access to the system with the help of roles we can access. Now, when you talk about roles which are required to have access to the instance as a consultant, we need full access to the instance with a functional point of view, not technical aspects. Technical consultant needs some different privileges. We are going to work as a functional consultant. When you say functional, you may be finance functional or SCM functional or HCM or PPM, doesn't matter. Irrespective of which functional consultant you are, you need access to very specific roles. So those roles are these. These two roles we have to assign to every user who is going to work as a consultant. You have to assign these two roles to every user. The first one is application implementation consultant role. Application implementation consultant. So if you assign this application implementation consultant role to any user, you will be able to perform the setups. Setups are configurations, both are same. So when we assign this application implementation consultant role to any user, that user will get access to FSM. FSM stands for Functional Setup Manager. FSM stands for Functional Setup Manager. By using the Functional Setup Manager, you can do the setups. It means system will allow you to implement any application. If you have access to application implementation consultant role, these are the roles. Let me write. These two are roles. If you have access to application implementation consultant role, you can do the setups. You will get access to FSM. FSM stands for Functional Setup Manager. By using the Functional Setup Manager, you can implement any application. The another role what we required is IT Security Manager. If you have access to IT Security Manager, you can deal with the security administration part, security administration. It means you can create the users. For example, for payables, there are 20 people who are working for payables department. For 20 people, you have to give the access to the instance. For 20 employees, you can create the 20 users. Every employee, every user you can map with the respective employee, and which employee is responsible for what with respect to payables application, you can give the access. One employee is responsible to create only invoices. Another employee is responsible to process the payment. The third employee need access to invoices and payment. And fourth employee need access to supplier creation and invoice creation. And fifth employee need access to only invoices, read-only access. So this is how we can set which employee is responsible for what. That's all you can manage from the IT Security Manager role. The IT Security Manager role will allow you to create the users and which user is responsible for what as per their task associated or where they are responsible, what they have to do with respect to the system. Accordingly, we can give the provisioning. So these two are mandatory roles for every consultant. When we are going to work on the system, if you are going to work as a consultant, your role is consultant role. That means you have to do the implementation. When you are implementing, you need full access to the system. To gain the full access on the system, these two roles are very much important so that you can start working as a consultant. So once we get access from your client for FA admin user or some other user, we create our own user. What purpose we are creating our own user? To do the implementation. So that is the reason the user what we create in the system we call as implementation user. Okay, we call it as implementation user. Fine. So that's what we have to understand. So here you may create one user called as XYZ INC for our testing purpose. Initially, later we'll change the name and we'll start playing. For now, initially you can take, say we are implementing for one client called as XYZ INC. That's how you can create your own user. The reality what we do is once we get one user from the client, so finance, we create one user, for SCM separate user, for HCM, PPM, for each area of application, for each product family, the consultants who are going to work, we will have a separate usernames. Okay, we'll have a separate usernames so that if anybody is doing in the system, system can track who is doing. For finance, one username, for SCM another username. This is how we'll have a separate users and we'll start working on the instance. And the roles what we are discussing here, application implementation consultant and IT security manager. These two roles Oracle is providing. The two roles Oracle is providing. What are the roles Oracle is providing? Those we call as seeded roles. We call as a seeded roles. So what are the roles Oracle is providing? We are calling as seeded. Not only these roles, anything you get in the instance which Oracle is providing, any data is available in the Oracle, in the fresh instance we are talking. In the fresh instance, whatever you see as Oracle already provided to support our implementation, those we call as seeded data. Here, which type of data that this is? Roles related. That is the reason the application implementation consultant and IT security manager, these two roles we call as seeded roles. Please make a note. Okay, when you create implementation user, we need to assign two roles. Those two roles are application implementation consultant and IT security manager. Application implementation consultant and IT security manager. This is what we have to understand. Any questions on this, please? You initially, like you, let's talk as a fusion. Once the discussions are completed, you can go with your questions if you want to correlate with EPS and if you want to ask the question. We'll give the first priority to understand directly from fusion point of view. Once questions are done, you can come up with, if you are from EBS background, you can just raise your questions by comparing with the EBS. Yeah, first priority will keep for fusion understanding, direct understanding without comparing with anything. Please.
Lakshman is allowed to customize that seeded role.
The roles what Oracle is providing, yes, we are calling as seeded roles. These are not allowed for any customization. If you want to customize this, there is a way of doing it. What you can do is, what are the role Oracle is providing? Application implementation consultant, you can copy it. You copy and you modify how you need. But your application implementation consultant role, which is seeded, it will remain seeded. You cannot touch it. But you can leverage it by copying. You can use it by copying and modifying.
Okay.
That is possible. Any other questions?
Hi, Lakshman.
Yeah.
These roles only applicable for functional consultant or other consultants also? These two roles.
See, we have to understand the purpose here. What is the purpose of these two roles? The first role for the purpose of setups.
Yes.
Second role for the purpose of
Security.
Security or security administration. Whoever need access to these two, they can use it. Typically in implementation, you find two roles of people, functional and technical. Okay. Mostly these are required by functional people. Technical people need access to IT security manager because when they are doing some kind of technical components to give the privileges to test what they are developing, definitely they need access to IT security manager. Mostly they don't need application implementation consultant role, but ideally it is assigned to everyone. If they somewhere something they want to set up to support their technical works, they can use it. So you take the point, by default, everybody need access to this, but mostly these two are full-fledged manner can be used by functional consultants.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, please?
Hello, Lakshman.
Yeah, hi.
So actually, if these roles and assigning role, these are actually just part of admin work, right? So it's come under our also as a functional consultant. We need to perform this.
Because see, we are the consultants to create the system environment. Once implementation is done, okay, once implementation is done, this can be managed by client team. As a part of implementation, we have to take care of all this. Who knows better than us about this? So that's the reason we have to take care of all this. This is our job only.
Okay, but assigning to other person is also part of our role?
Yes, they don't know how to use the system. They will give their requirement. We have a 20 people who are working for payables department. So we will tell you who need access to what. We know about system, how to create user, how to give the access. They don't know.
Okay, so you
That is the
business
reason you are
user,
consulted. They are not.
in a sense, business user, like who are,
Correct, correct. Business users only I'm talking.
okay,
Yeah.
kind of.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Lakshman, in R12, you have responsibilities, and responsibilities, basically means your access to which screens
Correct.
and which programs,
Correct.
right? So here the roles will have both, that is the windows you will have access as well as the programs, or reporting is something different in Fusion.
I'm referring R12 EBS. There is no big difference with respect to this concept, even 11A. Okay. The guys who are not from EBS background, you just go through these points. You don't need to understand and you don't need to relate with anything. Again, I'll explain how it works in the Fusion also. See, if you are from EBS R12, so in EBS R12, what we will do? You will have a user, say user 1 you have. The user 1 need access to AP application. Requirement is AP application access. For that, what we have to do is, you have to create AP responsibility. If you want to give access to user for AP application. So for AP application, you have to create the responsibility, and that responsibility you have to assign to user. What you can have inside of the AP responsibility? Menu, request group. This discussion only for EBS guys. Okay, others don't look into that, not required for you. Don't try to understand. You may take 2-3 minutes break, nothing wrong. Okay, what can we have within the AP responsibility? Menu and request group, right? Can we assign menu to user directly in EBS?
No.
So what menu consists of? Different privileges, right? Functions.
Yes.
Or else inside you can have submenus.
Yes.
Without submenus also directly you can have privileges or functions. What request group consists of?
Programs.
Programs. Now, in Fusion, you have a roles. Okay, roles you have. So menu you will have a functions, right?
Yes.
That you can accommodate within the roles. And in request group, you will have a programs. The program maybe can process something or it may be report.
Yep.
Though both they are keeping in the role only in the Fusion.
Okay.
Now you will have a user 1 in the Fusion. User 1. Now directly you can assign your role to user 1. Over.
Okay.
In EBS, for AP responsibility, you assign your operating unit so and so, right?
Yeah.
The same you can do in the Fusion also. You can, here you assign to responsibility, here you assign to role. That's all.
Okay.
In EBS, menu you cannot assign to user.
Okay.
That is the reason you are doing some intermediate setup called as responsibility. Through responsibility, you can assign your menu to user, right?
Yes.
So, but that you can bypass in the Fusion. Directly you can assign role to user. Clear?
Clear. So only that there is no grouping of functions or
Yes. All are there inside of this
roles. Okay.
roles only. Even in EBS, you have a menu, main menu and submenus, right?
Yeah.
In here also you can have a roles and sub roles. We will discuss that, how we call it all. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's all about grouping certain functions only you call as a submenu.
Right.
But here also same, it is possible. But to understand, these are the points you have to take.
Okay. Thanks, Lakshman.
Yeah, thank you. If anybody from EBS background, any questions on this point, please. Others don't look into this. Leave it.
Lakshman,
Yeah.
Here in EBS, there are two just consider there are two responsibility. One is a super user and one is a user.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yes. So in the Fusion, here the comparative to super user and user, we need to create
No, see, you are calling a super user or end user, it totally depends on what privileges they need, right? When you say super user, maybe manager need access to everything. When you say end user may be limited to just invoice creation or supplier creation.
Exactly.
Those all like based on what access they need, accordingly you are classifying the users. Who need access to most of the things you are calling as super user, who need access to very limited you are calling as end user. The same you can cater with the roles in Fusion.
Okay.
Okay, whom you treat as a super user, give the roles which will allow the user to access to everything.
Okay.
Okay, in EBS, the difference is in EBS, we have to create the responsibilities, right?
Yes.
In Fusion, you don't need to create the roles. Already Oracle is providing the roles which are equal to your super user and end user responsibilities in EBS.
Okay. So just before that, we are going to assign any roles to user. We need to
Yes.
we need to all the clear idea about that role.
That's it. That will come to know so that you can understand what to assign, when to assign, whom to assign.
Okay.
Yes. So here think ready-made. Yeah, you don't need to create. Okay. Yeah.
Lakshman, on EBS, we, on the functions under menus on the functions, we set up the links of Apex and call the Apex pages. On the cloud side, is that a possible thing or that is not even allowed?
See, here you can do the linking also. There will be data security points. Okay, you will be able to map. Okay, the data mapping you can do. Within the role, we have a configurations. So with that, you can establish the linking.
Okay.
Yeah, possible you can do here also. If you don't have any questions on this point, I want to remove this.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Fine. Any other questions on this user creation, please? If no questions, we'll go and see in the system how to create the user. Any questions from anyone? The very simple point is, when you are going to work as a consultant for any implementation, you need user with these two roles. These two roles will give you full control on the system. You can start doing the setups. You can take care of the administration of system. Here administration means security related administration, not entire instance administration. Only security. Okay, no questions. Okay, so here is the cloud instance. Okay, so I'm going to log in. So you can connect to this instance from any device, no kind of add-ons or plugins you have to install in the device. Directly you can hit the link and you can access. We'll see the process of user creation. Okay, how to create the user, that is a target. So we'll go and create one user called as XYZ INC and we'll assign these two roles and we'll ensure this user is able to have access to relevant areas. One is FSM to do the setups. The other one is security console to create the users and roles. We'll create user, we'll assign the roles and we'll verify the user got access to these two areas, FSM and security console. Let's see that. To create the user, once you log into the instance, here you can find the bar icons, the three bars you can see. So this represents the navigator icon. You just place the cursor on it, it is showing navigator. If you want to navigate, if you want to take any path within the system environment, you can start from here. Just click on the navigator. And within the navigator, you can find the section called as tools. If you click on it, it will be expanded. Click on tools. Under tools, you have one task. These all we call as a different tasks, task task. Under tools, click on security console. This is a place where you can create the users. Okay, you just click on security console task. And in this page, you have to select users and click on add user account. Here you can create the user account. Okay, here you can create the user account. I'll repeat this for one time. Okay. So pretty simple process. So when it comes to you, like you will get username and password and this same instance URL for your practice. With that user, you can log into the instance. Don't use that user your practice purpose. With that user, create your own user. Create your own user with the help of user what you get from our side. Then rest of practice, you have to go with your own user. Don't use the user what we are providing. We are providing user for you to create your user. With your user, you can do all the setups what we are going to see in upcoming classes. So connect to the instance. Go to tools. Okay, you have to just click on this navigator icon. And within the navigator, you have to expand the tools. Under tools, you can find one task called as security console. Click on security console. And select users. Okay, select users. Here you can create the user. To create the user, click on add user account. And first name, last name, email, okay, username, password, confirm password. First name is optional. So enter last name of the user. So we are just taking, we discussed to use the name as a XYZ INC. Say XYZ INC, I'm giving as a last name. And the same name system is taking as username, and you can provide the email. We can set when you create user, email is mandatory or optional. We can set. We will discuss that. Maybe probably in the next session we'll just we'll work on that related password policies and all, so that you can understand. So for now, just since email ID is mandatory, you can provide email ID. I'm just giving xyz@gmail.com. Some dummy email ID I'm providing, and set password. Okay, here is the password policy. Just place the cursor on this information icon, password policy. What it says, at least 8 characters, 1 number. That is a password policy, and we can set this password policy how it is required. You may set 8 characters, 1 uppercase, lowercase, 1 number, 1 special character. These are all you can set as a password policy. We'll see that later in the next session. In today's session, just our focus is user creation, role assignment, and checking the user access to respective areas. So set password. And save it so that our user would be ready without any roles. If you want to assign the roles, here is the tab. Add roles, you can click on add roles and you can assign those 2 roles, whatever we discussed. We'll assign those roles after some time. Okay, we'll assign those roles after some time. For now, let's create user. In the next step, we will assign the roles. So we given the last name, since email ID is mandatory, we given mail ID, and same mail ID system is taking as username. If you don't want to, it's by default, it is copying. If you don't want to keep email ID as username, you can just take the XYZ INC as a username. You can override. System is copying and you can override. And password, just you enter password and confirm the password. When you enter the password, just follow the password policy what we have. This password policy can be customized. You can change how you require for your organization. Now click on save and close. Our user will be ready. System will create our user with the given inputs. Just wait for a moment. It will create the user. Now you can find out your user. Username is XYZANC. Okay. And click on find out. So display name is nothing but the last name what we given. Username, login name, what is the email ID we provided. Status of this user is active. If since user is active, you can log into the instance. User account is locked? No. If user account is locked, even user is active account is locked, you cannot log into the instance. Okay, you cannot log in. And different actions you can perform on this user account. On this user account, different actions you can perform. You see here, click on drop down. You can lock this account. If you lock this account, this user cannot log into this instance. If you want to reset the password, yes, you can reset the password for this user. And if you want to delete the user, yes, you can delete. The reality for audit complaints, users should not be deleted, but they're given the provision. What we have to understand is system will delete this record only from this page, not from the instance. It will be there in the database. With this user, you might have created many transactions. You might have done some setups. That historical data records reference should not be deleted. That is the reason what Oracle is doing is, if you delete this user, you cannot find this user from this page from next time, but it will be there in the database. Okay, that's what you have to understand. You are deleting only from this page as a user, but you are not deleting historical data mapping with the past transactions, whatever you recorded with this user or with this user, what are the setups you did in the system. That reference you are not going to delete. Okay, the deletion means it's not a permanent deletion, only deletion from this page. That's what we have to understand. If you want to compare this user with another user, yes, you can do it. But we not yet created this user also with a complete definition that you can try later. You can compare this user with another user so that you can understand which roles are assigned to this user, what roles are assigned to other user, which roles are common roles, which are distinct roles. This and all you can do the comparison. And the other point is you can copy this user. Say for this user, you assign the 10 roles. For some different reasons, you assign 10 roles. You want to create one more user, that user also require 10 roles access. Instead of creating user and assigning the 10 roles one by one, you copy this user and you give the new name, the roles will be copied. Here copy user is nothing but reality, not copy user. For this user, whatever the roles are assigned, those you can copy. So these are the few points we have to understand with respect to this user creation. Okay, lock means if you click on lock, this account will be locked. You cannot log into the instance. Reset password, just click on reset password. We can change the password. Select manual, change the password. Okay. So ideally, if you provide the valid email ID in the user creation time, you will get link on that email ID automatically. You will get reset password link on that. If anytime if you are trying to reset the password, you can click on that link, you will get connected to, redirected to the instance, and you can reset the password. So I'm resetting the password just for our testing. And click on reset password. Okay, let it save. Yeah. Now other point is delete. So never delete the user. Okay, even for your testing purpose also don't delete. If I delete this XYZ user from here, I cannot create the same user once again, because one user only one time. You are deleting from this page, not from the database. That is the reason. After deleting this user, if you try to create XYZ user, it won't allow you. It says already user is there. Where is the user? In the database. It may not appear from this page once you delete, but it would be there in the database. After deleting the user with the same name, you cannot create one more user. Not possible. The compare and copy. So once You have another users. Once you have a roles assigned to this, if you want to compare, you can perform these operations. This is all about user creation. Now we'll go and assign the roles. To assign the roles, you can click on username or display name. You can see for both hyperlink is enabled. Let's click on username. So here we have a user, no roles are assigned. Okay, no roles are assigned. To assign the roles, click on edit. Just click on edit. Now here is the add role tab. Click on add roles. And what are the roles we have to assign? We discussed 2 roles, application implementation consultant and IT security manager. Okay, assign one by one. Search for application implementation. Don't type application implementation consultant, just type application implementation, only these 2 words. Okay, so application implementation. Don't type implementation consultant. Now here you can see when you type application implementation, system is showing the different roles. One is application implementation administrator, the other one is application implementation consultant, and one more is application implementation manager. You have 3 different roles. There are multiple copies, ignore it. So 3 roles: implementation administrator, implementation consultant, implementation manager. We need to assign application implementation consultant to our user. By looking at the names, if you assign application implementation administrator or manager, you are not going to have a full access to the system. It could be application implementation manager or administrator. Those roles got very limited access to the system. So always we have to assign application implementation consultant role only. If you want to assign those additional roles, assign, but important role what we need is application implementation consultant. Okay, now you can just select application implementation consultant role. Application implementation consultant. You can notice we selected application implementation consultant role. It is displaying the 2 roles here. Okay, so application implementation consultant copy. Somebody copied. This is the one which Oracle is providing. In the same, somebody copied. Earlier there was one question from the team and answered. You can copy and modify. That's how somebody copied this role and they modified. Okay, never touch the roles which are copied and edited by someone else. Always go with the seeded roles what Oracle is providing. Another point is when you type application implementation consultant role, here there are 2 definitions: application implementation consultant, application implementation consultant. The role name is same. The below you have a copies also. Forget about copies. Somebody copied, ignore them. And here the same name it is displaying twice. Name is same, but code is different. You see here, code is ORA ASM application implementation consultant job. Here ASM application implementation consultant. Okay, which one you have to choose? Anyone you can choose. There is a slight difference, not now. When we work on the role customizations, I will explain what makes the difference between these 2, in what aspect. For now, both are same for us. Anyone you can choose. Anyone you can choose.
So both are seeded roles?
Both are seeded. Yep.
Okay.
Both are seeded. What Oracle is doing is, in some instances, they are giving 2 copies with a code difference. In some instances, they are giving only first one. If you find 2, you can choose any one, or else you choose first one. If they are giving only one, use as it is. That's it. So there is slight difference, but it doesn't impact everywhere, anywhere. Only the concept when you deal with the custom roles. We'll have one separate session on how to create the new roles from the scratch, how to copy and edit. These all points we'll discuss. We'll have a separate session. In that session, I'll explain what is the difference between these 2. Now it is not required. By understanding also, we cannot prove it. Okay, in that session, I'll explain and I'll show you how really it will behave. For now, you can choose anyone, first one or second one. I'm choosing first one. For the same, somebody made a copy that also displaying, ignore it, select it. Click on this role. Click on this role record. It is selected. You can see, okay, selection. Now click on add role membership. Add role membership is nothing but assign role to user. Add role membership is nothing but assign role to user. Click on add role membership and click on done. That's it. So we assign one role to our user. Our user is XYZ Inc. We assign the role called as application implementation consultant. What we can do with this application implementation consultant? We can do any application related setups. Doing setups for any application is nothing but implementing the application. Okay, doing any setups nothing but implementing the application. This is what we have to understand. Now we have to assign one more role, that is IT security manager. IT security manager. Now go to instance, click on add role. Your name is IT security manager. Okay, IT security manager, assign. And click on done. So IT security manager, 2 roles we assign. Now say save and close. So user is ready with 2 roles. Now you can click on done. And you can sign out from this current user. You can sign out from the current user ERP tree. You can sign out and you can log into the instance with XYZ Inc. user. Whatever we created just now, we assign 2 roles. Just sign out.
Yeah, Lakshman, in EBS, right? So while assigning the responsibility to a user, so we can have the end date also for that responsibility. So how long that user can, yeah.
Correct.
But in
here you can block it. Their end date here is blocking. That's it. After end date, that user cannot have access to the system. Here, if you block, user cannot have access system. Here there is no end date option.
okay, so end date means for user, not for the role, right?
Yes. In EBS, you can end date the responsibility also, right?
Right.
Here you can delete the delete the role.
Okay.
That's it. Here there is no option to give end date what role is assigned. Or user level also you cannot end date the user. Only the option is if you don't want to allow the user to have access to the system after a certain time, you just simply go and block it, lock it.
Okay.
And if you don't want to allow the user to have access to so and so role, we don't have an option of giving the setting the end date. Directly go and delete it. In EBS, you cannot delete responsibility once you assign. Right? You cannot do that. But here you can delete the role.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the difference. Okay, now we'll go and see, we'll connect to the instance as XYZ Inc. user, whatever we created just now. Because of these 2 roles, what we are able to access, we will see. So user is XYZ Inc. XYZ Inc. Provide password, sign in. So XYZ Inc. So what is the use of application implementation consultant role? The application implementation consultant role purpose is we can do the setups for any application. We'll check our current user is able to have access to FSM or not. We'll check it. How to check? Click on username. Just click on username. It will open on panel. So within this panel, if you are able to see one task, these are all we call as a different tasks. One task is setup and maintenance. Okay, one task is setup and maintenance. If you are able to see setup and maintenance task, that means you got access to FSM. So if this user has access to FSM, then only you can see this setup and maintenance task in this list or in this panel. By clicking on setup and maintenance, you can enter into FSM page. You can land on FSM page. Just click on setup and maintenance. You will be landing on FSM page. This is the FSM page. FSM stands for Functional Setup Manager. Any functional related setups you can do and you can manage all those. How we are navigating here? Click on username. A panel will open and click on setup and maintenance task. It will take you FSM home page. From here, you can do any application implementation. You want to implement financials. Here, what we can do is from the drop down, select financials. Okay, in the financials, you want to implement general ledger application, select do these setups. You can use GL application. You select payables and do these setups. You can use the payables application. Okay, select fixed assets. Do these setups. You can start using the fixed assets to record the assets. Select receivables. Do these setups. You can start using the receivables application. So this is how we can use this FSM. Okay, we'll try later. Now, just as an introduction, I'm just taking you through the slides. Fine. And that's all about FSM. Because of FSM, we are able to see this setup and maintenance task in this panel. Once you click on username, once you click on this, we will land on this FSM page. And you can select what you are going to implement. You are going to implement financials. You can select financial related and you can update here. Any application you can select and you can do the implementation. So that's all about FSM. We will understand more detail level in next session. I'll talk about more detail level. What is FSM? What we can do? What sequence we have to follow when we do something in the FSM? Before you do this setup, what else we have to complete? We'll just establish detailed discussions in the tomorrow session. Okay, today just introduction, user creation, role assignment, and checking whether the user is able to access to expected area or not. That's all about FSM access. If you assign IT security manager role to any user, that user should be able to access to security console. We'll go and verify our XYZ Inc. user is able to access to security console or not. How to check? So click on this navigator icon, bar icon. So here, see, there are many areas now added because of the roles. Go to tools. Under tools, here is a security console. You are able to see security console from user called as XYZ INC just because of we assigned IT security manager role to this user. If you don't assign IT security manager role to this XYZ INC user, under tools, you cannot find the security console. If you don't have access to security console, you cannot create the new users. You cannot assign any roles. You don't have access to any security administration. So this is what we have to understand. Okay. Under tools, if you are able to see security console, it means IT security manager role is assigned. Say you are not able to see security console under IT tools section. It means you don't have access to IT security manager role. This is what we have to understand. If you click on IT security console, it will take us to the page from which page we can create the new users. You can go to users. If you want to create, you can create the new user. This is how you can get access to the relevant areas based on the roles. Because of application implementation consultant role, we are able to access to FSM so that you can perform the setups. And we assigned IT security manager role to our user. That is the reason our user is able to have access to security console to create the users and to assign the roles. So this is all about implementation user. When you start working on the implementation engagement, we need one user with these privileges. These two roles we have to associate. then we can start working on this implementation engagement. So going forward, if anything else required, we will assign what purpose, how, where it will impact. We will discuss and do it. Okay, but now this is what we have to understand. So we have done for today. If you have any questions, please stay back. We'll discuss. If no questions, we'll catch up tomorrow, same time. Thank you all. See you tomorrow.
Lakshman, is this just before we done one setup, right? This is the development system, how it is like?
Any irrespective of what you have to do it, even it is a production or a test or a development, same process. You should have your own user.
Okay. And we can copy that role to production also. Suppose if you are doing
You can
development.
copy, not only user, everything you can copy.
Okay.
I'll take you through that process also. It's pretty simple.
It is,
We don't
okay.
need any technical support. We don't need any
Okay.
DBA support. Being a functional consultant,
We
you
can do
run
it.
simple program. It will extract all the setups. It will create the file. That file you can load in the targeted instance. Same setups will be created.
It's not complex thing.
Pretty straightforward process.
Okay.
Extract and load in the target instance. That's it. 2 steps.
Because I have a kind of fear that technical stuff,
No,
whether
not
we
you
can
know, not
able to
only
handle it.
Oracle or not only Oracle, every product-based company, they are making the task very easy. They are more they are converting technical things into functional. Yeah. Many things are converted in Fusion also from technical to functional, where we can handle without any technical dependency. We'll see that.
That's-
We'll see the system.
Yeah, that's good actually, because we are not able to, if we don't have a technical skills, like, or say it's very difficult.
No, it's not difficult. We'll take the technical team support if you don't have
Okay.
technical. That's what we do in EBS or any other products, right?
Oh yeah.
So the roles are defined very clearly. Functional people, functional tasks, technical team, technical task. Ideally, copying this data and all it in EBS case, DBA can do it.
Okay.
So in Fusion, yes, we can do it. More than that
Okay.
means we can take DBA help. With this, what we can do is we can move the setup data. To
Okay.
implement what are the setups we are doing, we can do that. If your requirement is along with the setups, if you want to copy the data also, yes, you have to take the DBA support. Rise SR to Oracle Cloud DBA, you ask them to copy everything from one instance to another instance, they do it for us.
Okay.
That we call it cloning.
Cloning.
Yeah.
Because actually regarding myself, actually I don't have any technical knowledge. I'm very new to
Not required,
Oracle,
not
actually.
required. Don't worry about it. Not required.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Whatever required, what we should know before we jump into this as a just our kind of job, we will discuss everything and we'll do in the system. Yeah, you will learn whatever really required.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
Any other questions from anyone, please?